Grief is such an overpowering emotion, especially after losing someone so close to you. It can take months, years, even decades to get back to normal, if that's even possible after experiencing a significant loss. This podcast was created to help you move through and release the emotions, allowing you to heal the hurt and begin living again. Listen in as I chat with medical professionals, grief workers, and people who have first-hand experience in losing a loved one, what their experience has been, and what they did to help heal themselves and those around them. Life isn't always sunshine and rainbows, but I believe there is always a silver lining if you're willing to look. Welcome to the Release Podcast. Welcome to this episode of Release, a grief podcast where we talk about grief and loss and death. And it doesn't necessarily mean that it comes from losing a person in your life. Grief is also manifests itself into the loss of a life that you once had, health issues, all those things. But today I get the amazing pleasure and privilege to talk to Miss Bonnie S. Hardy. And she is a mindset, gratitude, and life coach. And she's already blown me away a couple times just before we even got on this chat, before we even hit the record button. So I'm super excited to talk with her and hear a lot of the things that she has to say. So welcome, Bonnie. Welcome to the podcast.
Good morning, Faith. Good morning, everybody. Thank you very much for having me. As Faith said, I'm a mindset, life, and gratitude coach. I'm based in Central Florida, and what I do is I empower midlife women to say bon voyage to shackles in their mind so they can live their best life and reclaim their joy and passion. I want everybody to leave a legacy, and I want everybody to live the life of their dreams that they really want to live and not worry so much about what has happened in the past, what people have said to you. You do you live the best life that you want to live, and let everybody else just basically deal with it. So I'm ready to go, Faith. Thank you very much again for having me on here. And we're ready to get into talking about grief, leaving a legacy, and how to get over everything you want to get over.
Perfect. There's a lot packed up into that. You've crammed a lot up in there. So first of all, this is a grief podcast. So I know that when you filled out the form, you talked about one thing really hit me hard when you filled out your form to be on this podcast. And that was losing your sister at 58, and you are currently 58. How is that impacting you, currently with your mindset and stuff like that? Because it's rough.
Yeah. Well, actually, next month will be the anniversary of her passing, and I believe it's going to be 7 years. And like I said, she passed away when she was 58. I'm 58 now, so I'm like, oh, okay, let's just, but like I said before, talking about grief, I could get emotional. I think I'm starting to now a little bit. However, that's fine. That's life. My sister was Dawn. She was 7 years older than me. We have 4 kids in my family, Dawn and Marion, who are 13 months apart. Myself, and I'm 6 years younger than Marion, and then my little brother, Mark, who's 6 years younger than me. So we had 2. They were 13 months apart. They're basically, I think they call them some type of twins or something because they're so close in age.
Right.
And it was like my sister Dawn and I were most like my dad, and my sister Marion and my little brother Mark were most like our mom. So we had the same personality, very, very quiet, very studious, observant, sit in the corner, watch everybody, don't say a lot, don't add to the conversation a lot. But when we do add to the conversation, we've got a lot to say. So, and my dad passed away almost 31 years ago. So that's something. I think I was 28, he passed away. So it was like, that's something, to really think about too. However, with my sister, she never had any kids, and I don't have kids. And she was married, but they never had any kids. She did like a lot of crocheting and sewing and volunteering and stuff like that. My other sister Marion was the only one that had any kids in our family of the 4 kids. So I have 2 awesome nephews and the most beautiful, almost 4-year-old great niece Michelle. I'm very proud to talk about my nephews and my great niece a lot because I'm very proud of them. However, talking about my sister Dawn, she had cancer, and when she passed, she was like barely 100 pounds, bald with no teeth
Oh,
because the cancer just tore her up. So I'm not sure if smoking caused it or exactly what. And when my dad died, he had a heart attack. So I'm always very checking on everything on my health, and I am overweight, so I have to watch that high blood pressure and stress. However, but with my sister, she liked to knit and sew, and she donated things to like nursing homes. So she would knit like little
okay.
mittens and stuff to put your cups on
Yeah.
and stuff. And she donated that to nursing homes. So that was something. That's a legacy that she had. However, her passing away at 58, she never got to see her nephew get married. She doesn't know she has a great niece. And I didn't think I was going to get this
Um,
emotional about that, but she never got to see her nephews grow up. And it was like, I mean, it's just crazy that stuff happens, and you want to leave a legacy. You want people, when they say hurting, that person is really awesome, and
mhm.
you just want to do the best that you can do. And when my dad passed away, we had people coming from different states. People were literally driving like 24 hours to come to his funeral. He had different nicknames. He was called Uncle Bill. He was called Uncle Jesse because at that time the Dukes of Hazzard show was on. That was a great thing. And my brother and two best friends, they were basically the same age. They got in and out of my dad's car without using the door, and called my dad Uncle Jesse and stuff like that. And everybody knew us on our block, and we had the best party parties and stuff like that. Santa Claus came to our house every year and actually delivered presents to the kids and stuff like that. We didn't have a chimney because we lived in South Florida, but Santa Claus did come to our house every year, so that was really nice. So
Right.
it's just even people now that I've been friends with since high school that remember my sister and my dad. They're like, I remember all the great times we had, and my sister and I love to read. We could sit in the corner and just read constantly, and I actually get in trouble. Would get in trouble being at a big event. We had a party, and I'd be off in the corner reading something instead of socializing. So I'm
Yeah.
working more on being able to socialize now and being more and quit being such a hermit and such an introvert. But it's like the legacy you want to leave. And I did a podcast a few days ago on procrastination. People keep putting things
Yeah.
off, and then putting it off tomorrow, putting it off till whenever you have enough money, you lose weight, you do this, you do that, and eventually there's not going to be a tomorrow. There's not going to
No,
be a
you will
tomorrow,
never have
and
enough money.
yeah,
You'll never lose enough weight. You will never
yes,
have that big party to use that fine china. You will never have,
right,
like, I agree with that. You have to do the things now, so that you don't really have any regrets later. Like, we're always going to have regrets. That's
right,
just going to happen. But if we can minimize how many regrets we have, then that's amazing. And I totally
right,
agree with that.
definitely,
And
yeah. And my mom is in her mid 80s now, and sometimes I don't
okay,
even know where she is. She and her boyfriend have an RV, and they travel around, and
okay,
they're living their best life, and we've got four generations in our family, and she has no regrets. She's going around, and she's visited like the national forests in the United States and the presidential museums and stuff like that. So that's the kind of legacy I want to just be able to, my big dream is to be a digital nomad and
yes,
travel around, do my coaching remotely, be an inspirational, motivational speaker, help the homeless and disadvantaged in the different areas that I go to. And it's just like sometimes you gotta get kind of hit in the face and slapped with something to make you wake up.
right.
Everybody, it's like Groundhog Day. You wake up and you do the same thing over and over again. And I talk to people all day long, different places to go to, and people are like, Your job is 8 hours. You punch in 5 minutes later. Oh, only 7 hours and
Oh,
55 minutes left of my shift. I mean,
right.
So it's
No,
like
I
if
hear
you
that.
really, yeah, it's like, and I try to tell people, hey, you have this job doing such and such, and you're helping people. You're feeding people so they don't have to cook. You're helping people design a vacation at Disney World so they can have a good time meeting Mickey Mouse and stuff. But if you're really not happy in your job, what makes you happy? What lights you up? That's what I just ask myself every day. What is it that I want to do that lights me up? That's why I enjoy being on podcasts and summits talking about a lot of different things, not just mindset, not just the whole mind body connection. Talk about procrastination, talk about grief, talk about how to be more productive with your time because everybody needs to listen to different things that makes them. And hopefully, I can say something to somebody today. Somebody will listen to this and they'll be like, the one thing that Bonnie said, that's what I want to do.
Right.
And I'm going to get out and
Yeah.
starting off in a few days as of this recording. Do what you want to do. Get out there and just do it. Be like the Nike commercial, Nike thing. Just do it. Get out there and do it. What do you want to do in your life? Why do you want to do it? What's stopping you? And just do it.
I think that, I mean, that's a fantastic message, just going out there and just doing it. A lot of people get stuck in this. You mentioned waking up and doing the same thing over and over, the Groundhog Day syndrome, which is the definition of insanity. Like you're getting up and doing the same thing over and over and over again, but you're expecting a different result in your life, and it's not happening because you're doing the same thing over and over and over again.
Right.
Um, so, with that in mind, how do you tell your clients, like, what do you say to them to get them to step out of that routine? Because it's actually a comfort thing. They're petrified to get out of that routine because they don't know what's going to happen on the other side of that rut that they're in. Like they're petrified. Is it going to be another rut? Is it going to be worse than what I am? I'm going to stick with the crappy crap that I know, as opposed to moving out of it and maybe potentially finding fun and a life that I've always dreamed or whatever. How do you tackle that with your clients?
Well, I tell people as a life coach, I'm kind of like a 2-year-old because I'm always asking why. Appeal to you, why do you want to do this? Why do you want to do this? And then we keep dialing us down as far as we can go. I want to leave a legacy for my children. Why? I want to leave my children better than I am now. Why? I want my children not to grow up with the hardships I grew up in. Why? I want my children to be happy. Keep keep going. Ask you. Sometimes you get to the bottom and like 3 questions. Sometimes it takes you 10. Sometimes you're not really sure if you're finished or
Right,
not. But you have to keep digging down,
right,
peeling the onion. I tell people, do brainstorming, do mind mapping, write out what you want, ideas. Just write out every single thing you want to do with your life. Doesn't matter if it sounds crazy. Doesn't matter how outlandish it is. Just do it. Get out of your comfort zone. Comfort zone is almost killing people because you're never doing anything extra. It's killing your
right,
soul. It's stifling you. It's suffocating you. You're doing the same thing over and over again, and you're unhappy, but you don't know why you're unhappy. It's like just do something different. I recently big old truck going by as usual. I heard a siren. This always happens, but it's okay. It's
yep,
life. I recently went over to the other side of Florida in Tampa for 3 weeks, and I stayed at a hostel there. And it was a totally different experience. I got to meet totally new people. Nobody knows me or my story. I got to present myself differently. It's a lot of people know that are watching that know me on Facebook. I've had a crazy little over a year. I've been homeless and I'm struggling with sometimes I have anxiety, depression,
hmm,
PTSD, stuff like that. I've had people say, I just can't handle you the way you are. I don't want to be your friend. I got to step back. I'm like, well, if you don't want to support me, be my friend during the bad times, you don't deserve to be around me during the good times. But I'm like, I'm still
amen.
getting out. I'm doing things. And it's like, I went to Tampa. I did a lot of great things. I planted some seeds I planted a long time ago finally coming into fruition. So I'm really looking forward to, July 2023. being a digital nomad, being able to get a roof over my head more permanently, and be able to travel around, do what I want to do, meet the right people who can help me and stuff, and just go. And it's like, just do it. What's the worst that could happen? You do nothing.
Right.
You eat free breakfast every morning. You sleep all day. And you meet people from all over the world. What's the best that could happen? I set up a seminar at the local coffee shop there. I was on multiple podcasts. I presented one of my programs in a group of like 800 people live. I did a lot of different things. So it's like, and I rented one of those electric bikes type scooter type things, went along Tampa Riverfront and stuff like that. So that was pretty cool to do that. So, I did a lot of different things, and it's like I came back, totally different person. I'm, a lot more confident and stuff. And to meet people who don't know anything about me, and for them to say really cool things about me, because I do have a problem with low self-esteem and low self-confidence. Because I'm like, look, you're 58, you're homeless. What's going on? People say all these great things about you, but you're a piece of poop because you're homeless. You're a bum. You need to get a job. You need to do this. You need to do that. And it's like, no, that's not it. Situations
No,
happen. I was in a yeah. So I'm like,
well,
look, I'm a
I
good
just
person
want to
no
speak
matter
on that
what.
point real quick.
Yeah,
I just want to
yeah,
speak on that point real quick. So you tell yourself, because negative self-talk, negative self-talk is a massive thing, is going through grief and going through any type of grief. So like you have a lot of
right,
grief right now, like with your sister, with your father, with being homeless, with the self-esteem stuff, with all the things going on. Like those are all different forms of grief. And grief is not just
right,
black and white. It doesn't just start here and stop here. It literally compounds and layers upon itself. And so you literally have to like
right,
pick back and figure out, why am I in this? Why does this affect me so much? Like when the negative
right,
self-talk comes in, why is that happening? It's because you feel some type of way about some type of thing, and you're not sure about it. You don't understand it. You haven't dove into it. Most people are just like, well, whatever. This is just who I am. And it's like,
right,
well, but you're so much more. And so I just want to say that with the homelessness, and I don't know your story, to be honest, Bonnie. I don't know the reason why that you're homeless. I don't know any of those things. And I try to, and this may sound weird, but when I do podcasts, I don't do a ton of research on my guests, because I want their story to come out. I want their story to come out however they choose for it to come out, and to be able to give them the option to put that out there in their own terms, so that I'm not making judgment calls on them, so that I'm not filtering my podcast through my own lens and letting my clients, not my clients, but letting my podcast guests tell their own story through their own lens. And so
right,
I just want to say that maybe the homeless part that you were mentioning and why it keeps coming up is because maybe you're meant to learn something through this season to be able to share with others, because I don't have that. I don't have that knowledge that you have for the homelessness stuff. I don't have that. I have a brief portion in my life, and that was it.
right.
And it was but you have such a gift to share and such a knowledge and wisdom. And I am so glad that you're on this podcast to be able to share it with us. And I just want to say, when you have those self-doubts, go kick them to the curb, please. Keep going, keep doing, keep being. I love that saying, and keep rocking it out, because I think that we need more people that are real with what is actually happening in life. And to me, I've often thought that being homeless is actually very freeing, because you're not beholden to someone to pay your rent, to pay your electric, to pay all these bills. You don't have to worry about maintaining a job in your local area to make sure that you pay your rent, pay your electric, pay your bills, all those things, because then you have to have a vehicle or a mode of transportation. Then you have to have, all these things. Anyway, I'm going off on a tangent now, but keep going. I am all in on this. So I love that you brought up these things, because these are all various different types of grief. And I love hearing how you're processing through them, how you're releasing these emotions and these feelings that are associated with them.
Right. Well, I do a lot of EFT tapping. I
Okay.
am a cognitive behavioral therapy coach practitioner, so I do CBT on myself. I try to, reframe stuff. If I'm going through one emotion, I try to. Sometimes I just let it go through. Actually, earlier this morning, I saw a friend's video on TikTok that really um, triggered me. So I started crying and had to come outside, sit on the patio for a few minutes because for some reason, I just really triggered me and I got upset. I didn't want to be sitting inside Starbucks crying.
Yeah.
So I came outside, but I like to use the hashtags. I'm invincible, not invisible. My name is Bonnie, not Bum. Just because I am homeless, that's just a situation I am in, and that doesn't mean that I'm a bad, lazy person. And you're right to a point. It is kind of freeing. I'm not beholden to any place or anything. My bags are packed already. I could just leave tomorrow if I had, place to go and money to go. I could just leave really quick, you know. But I
Right.
have to. But I try to just stay positive and say help people out as much as I can, and say, hey, look, I might be in this position. However, it's not the worst position in the world to be in. How many people didn't wake up this morning? Even though I woke up this morning, I actually woke up twice this morning because 2:30 in the morning the sprinklers come on. It's different nights each week. So when I sleep on the concrete bed, I try to sleep on the concrete bench every night, but with the weather sometimes. So the sprinklers came on, and 2:30 I had to get up and go and sleep in front of a phone store that's closed for overnight on the ground. So
Mm.
so I had to get up twice this morning, pack my stuff, move, and get all set up again, and get up at 6 o'clock to get going on the day. But it's like, hey, I show people how to reframe negatives into positives, Faith. So what I do is, obviously, it's terrible that I'm homeless, terrible that I'm outside sleeping every night. However, to reframe that to positive, it's I'm outside getting fresh air every night. I get to look at the moon and the stars and learn about astronomy and the constellations. I can actually see the moon
Right.
going from here to there and stuff like that. So sometimes early in the morning, I'll see like hot air balloons on the weekends. I'll see
Oh,
them going overhead and stuff like that. So it's like that's pretty cool and stuff. So it's not something that I want, not something that I'm happy about, but for right now, it's sort of my cross to bear. And I want to show people that no matter how bad the situation is, somebody's going to have it worse. And don't
absolutely.
always be saying this, that, and the other. And just because somebody's in this position, they're a bad person, they're lazy, they need to do this, they have to do this. It's like, and I was on the podcast earlier today. I was like, you know, if you want to come and spend a week with me in Central Florida and tag along with me and do my daily activities, you can do it. I guarantee you'll tap out after 3 or 4 days unless you're a real strong person. Not getting much sleep at night because you can't really
Absolutely.
sleep completely. I mean,
No.
what kind of food do you think I can eat because I can't cook or refrigerate anything? And chips and cookies are very expensive and they're not healthy for you. It's part of the reason I'm overweight.
Right.
But if I lost weight, it would help my knees. I got osteoarthritis in my knees, but then it's like a whole vicious cycle for everything. Like I can't, I don't know where to stop, where to start with stuff. Sometimes I'll explain more to some people, but sometimes it's like,
Right.
hey, but I want my legacy. I want you to think when you think of me, of my name, it's like she's just been in a tough situation, but she's still going out there and she's helping people, and she's been able to turn her grief about losing people into something good and helping people to get through the worst. It's
Right.
like when you think of anything, what's the worst that could happen? Just do it. What's the worst that could happen? Sometimes you gotta like burn the bridges, so to speak. No plan B or C, only plan A. Make it work. And what are you gonna do if say you had to leave your house on Saturday? It's the first, and you had no place to stay for a month. What would you do? What would you do? Think
Mhm.
about that. And it's
Yep.
grief about losing a place to live and not having roof over my head. So, like you said, there's all different types of grief. It's
It
not
is.
just losing a person. It's kind of like losing yourself too.
Yep. Absolutely. I know when I lost my daughter in 16, I kind of lost myself a little bit there. And then after I lost my granddaughter in 2020, or I'm sorry, in 21, I lost myself a lot.
Mm-hmm.
And that's when I started realizing. So when I lost my daughter in 16, she was 19, she was beautiful, had her full life ahead of her, and a shock. It was a tragic car wreck, and it just hits you differently. That grief, you're going to go through these stages of grief. It's going to hurt. It's going to hurt like hell, but you have to get up and you have to keep going. Well, for me, I have other children, and I'm married. So it's like, okay, I still need to provide for my family. I am the emotional
Right.
epicenter of my family. And I, as a mom, am so worried about my children, and all those things. So I would push my grief off. So it didn't hit me as hard. But then when my granddaughter passed, she was 4,
Mm-hmm.
and another tragic vehicle accident. And that one, I lost it because I was watching my child go through the same thing that I had went through, with planning the funeral, with going through those emotions, keeping the family together. He has other children too. And so it was this emotional roller coaster that I was on. And I decided after my granddaughter that I wanted to help people with grief, because we go, I believe, and this is my belief only, this is not Bonnie's, this is mine,
Mm-hmm.
that I believe that we go from one grief to the next grief with moments of life in between. And each time we hit another moment of grief and we do not recognize it, we don't process it, we don't let those emotions course through us and properly go through those emotional cycles, that we just compound the issue later on in life. And that's when we get
Right.
into the whole, like, tons of the regret. Well, I can't because I'm scared. Because when you lose somebody, you get scared. You're like, oh
Mm-hmm.
my God, I can't lose somebody else. Well, the reality is we're going to lose people, because the moment we're born, we're going to die. We know this. We know this with absolute 150 million% certainty. We know this, but we choose to ignore it. We choose to not focus on it. Oh no, we're just going to live our life. We're just going to do these things, which we should. But we also have to be cognizant of that there will be an end point. And like with my story, my daughter and my granddaughter, they didn't get the opportunity to barely even start living. And so with yours, like you coming out and telling people, like, move, get out there, do the things, have the fun, use the china, wear the bathing, whatever it is that you're telling people and teaching your clients to do, I am 100% for that, because old age is not a right. It's a privilege afforded to few. So anyway, I'm off my soapbox now.
Yeah, I get on soapboxes myself and stuff, and it's like, just you don't want to be, like we said, on your deathbed and look back and regret, say, I should have done this. I wish I did this. Do it now. It doesn't matter how old you are. Just there's people,
Right.
and our president of the United States is like in his 80s and he's a president. So you can still do
Right.
stuff when you're older. It doesn't matter what's going on. There's people that are, actors and actresses that have starring on TV shows and stuff like that, singers. Some of these bands, they've been going on for, seems like 722 years. They're still going strong at
Right.
75 years old. And so I think the Rolling Stones are going
Right.
to live forever and stuff like that. So
Right.
just get out and do it, and don't live your life with regret. And I tell people to practice gratitude. Write down 5 to 10 things you're grateful for every day,
Yes.
and journal your feelings and things like that. Sometimes you might have to write a letter to somebody to hurt your feelings. Write everything out, then burn it, or then crush it up and throw it down the toilet or something like that. Just get your feelings
Yep.
out. And what's that saying, like, don't die with the music inside you? Get out and just do what you want to do. Being another month
Can
starting
you
in a few
repeat?
days
Hold
is,
on.
yeah,
Can you repeat that last part? It kind of cut out there a little bit.
yeah. Yeah, I think there's a saying called "Don't die with the music in you." Just get out and
Okay.
do it, and just, we are at a good time right now that we're getting ready to start a new month. But you don't have to wait. Don't wait till January 1st, 2024 to start doing what you want to do. Write your goals right now, what you want to accomplish by
Right.
January 1st, 2024. Start working on them. You have to have big goals. You have to have extreme goals. And some stuff might be really, really extreme, but don't worry about it. See what you can do to achieve those goals. Some people go, go back to school if you want to earn a degree or something like that. If you want to do that, start a new job, start a different business. Just do what you want to do.
Right.
Don't worry about what other people are saying or could say or be judgmental. And I worry about people being judgmental and stuff. But then I also have people saying, you're so inspirational. You're in this bad position. You've gone through this and this, but you're still getting up and you're still being on podcasts and summits. You're still trying to inspire people, even though you've got all this stuff stacked against you. So
Right.
it's like, hey, knock those bricks down. There, that wall down that's in front of you, from stopping you from living your legacy. You've got grief. Process grief as much as you can and get over it and say, my sister did not live long enough to accomplish her goals. I'm going to do it for her and I'm going to do it for my father. That's what I'm
Right.
going to do. That's going to be my legacy. That's how I'm going to go through my grief. I'm going to make sure that when they passed away too early, I'm going to make sure they're still going to be proud of me. And I'm going to live the legacy that they should have lived, that they unfortunately were not able to. So they're going to say, hey, good job. My dad's nickname for me was Chowderhead because I was only one of the kids born in Massachusetts. So he's
Oh,
going to drink
okay.
a beer and say, good job, Chowderhead.
I'm sure he is. I'm sure he's already doing that. Like I like to think of things as not as in, well, it's good or it's bad, because I believe it is just is. So whether like
Right.
homelessness is not good or it's not bad, it
Yeah.
actually has no emotions,
Right.
homelessness, the actual word homeless has no good or bad. It
Right.
just is. It's a word. And so it
Right.
is a situation. Is it good? Is it bad? I don't know. Time will tell. There's
Right.
good and bad both with it,
Right.
with everything. It's learning the
Right.
lessons uh, that we can from it. And I want to Alex Hormozy, I love following him. I love listening to his stuff online. And he had a saying, or he had a post that he put up, I think it was a couple days ago. And it reminds me so much of you. It says, the bigger the obstacle to overcome, the greater the reward on the other side. Something like that. I'm paraphrasing here. So I just
Yeah.
want to speak those words out to you. Like, there will be a great overcoming for you coming soon, with and the time that it is meant to be, because of course time and space are all relative. I have no control over either one. And
Right.
I wish nothing but great things for you. And I know that great things are coming your way just because of how hard you're working and how you keep moving and going and doing and being. You just keep going like a little Energizer bunny. I love it.
Yeah. What's that thing by Timex? I think it takes a licking and it keeps on ticking,
Right.
or Samsonite luggage, or something like that. I'm not
Something
sure.
like
Sometimes
that.
I watch like old commercials online, so it's like, yeah, I keep being, I'm like that thing that keeps being knocked down and comes back up again and stuff like
Right.
that. I keep being knocked down, but I bounce back and I bounce back. And those people that were there when I was at my lowest, they're gonna be there when I'm at my highest, and they're gonna be able to say,
Absolutely.
"Hey, and I met you, and you were doing this, and now look at you." I mean, I was recently featured in a local magazine.
Yep.
I've done podcasts and stuff like that, and summits, and I call myself the mindset mentor, the gratitude guru, podcast pro. So I'm really looking to awesome legacy and show people that no matter what happens, no matter how bad life gets, it's going to get better. And you're going through a tough time now, but you're not going to appreciate the good unless you have the bad. So I'm definitely appreciate when I have a nice bed to sleep in. When I go back tonight to the
Absolutely.
concrete bench, I appreciate having a nice bed. And I want other people, if you have a nice house, a nice car, appreciate that. Don't take that for granted.
It's,
Appreciate that you do have a place to cook and stuff.
right. I was gonna say, I think you might have touched on something major there when you earlier in the conversation when you said, come stay with me for a week. Like I will show
Yes.
you exactly, like you should become the appreciation coach, to show people how to
Yes.
appreciate the life that they have. Like it's only, you know, 1995 for 7 days of appreciation with me.
Yeah. Yeah, that's a good idea. I should add that to my coaching. Go spend a week with me. You'll see the highs and you'll see the lows.
But you'll definitely
And at this
appreciate
point,
what you have.
definitely. I mean, sometimes I joke about certain things. At this point, I can have no shame about using the bushes as a restroom overnight.
Right?
I'm not an animal. I keep everything clean and stuff. I work it out as good as I can. But I'm like, if somebody goes by and they see something, I'm sorry, but it's 3 o'clock in the morning. You're just gonna have to, whatever.
Right.
So sometimes I have to laugh so I don't cry about the whole thing and stuff like that. So it's like, hey, it is what it is, but appreciate what you do have. Don't dwell on
Right.
what you don't have. And just,
Keep
you
moving.
appreciate you have a house and you have food you can eat. And you can eat on a regular basis because sometimes I don't know where my next meal is coming from, what I'm even going to have, or all that kind of stuff. So just appreciate that you can make a healthy meal. You can go out on a regular basis to a restaurant. Sometimes I only eat like a bagel or a couple pieces of toast and then maybe a bag of chips, and that's all I eat in one day. So
Right.
appreciate it. You can cook whatever it is you want. I really want a big, nice bowl of spaghetti and meatballs, spaghetti and sausage right now. I've been craving that for a while, but I next year, 2024, August 21st, I turned 60. So I'm looking to have like I want to take a cruise, Bonnie's birthday cruise, make it a big deal and stuff like that. So that's one of my longer term goals. And it's like I just have to one day at a time. You get up one day at a time, one step at a time. Appreciate everything. I'm very happy that there are certain places I can go to hang out and work and do things, and the employees and management there are very nice and they're respectful. And I'm very nice. I'm respectful too. I don't make a mess. I don't ask anybody for anything. Sometimes they might give me a free drink or something like that. So anytime I get anything, I'm very rarely going to ask you for something. But if you offer it to me, I'm not going to say no. you know.
Right. Right. Well, I love that. And I loved this conversation that we had. What are some tips and tricks for the people that are listening for when they start to head down that spiral, to how to pull themselves out of it? The negative self-talk, the like I'm not good enough. Like why would people want to listen to me? Like how can I, all those things.
Well, think about everything you've accomplished. Just start thinking about the good things that you've accomplished. Think about the people around you who rely on you on a regular basis. And honestly, sometimes, Faith, when you start to go downward, there's times you really do need to go downward for a little while. You don't want to wallow in it. You don't want to stay there. But sometimes you need to go and be negative for a minute and just kind of. There's times I've had to just go and be off by myself for a while and not talk to anybody because I got to process everything. But you're not going to really get the good unless you totally get rid of the bad. You got to sit in it and kind of say what's going on, why I'm in this. But then I have accomplished this. These are my goals. This is what I want to do. This is why I'm waking up in the morning. So when you start to go the wrong way, and I've got some trusted friends that I'll like private message them and say, got code words that we use, and they know that code word means I need help, and then they have code words that they can use to help me get out of it. And have somebody to talk to, have like a sounding board, have somebody who's going to. Sometimes it's like I just need to talk. I don't want advice. I don't want opinions. I just want to tell you what's going on. Sometimes I'm like,
Right.
hey, I want your opinion. But sometimes I'm like, just please, just let me vent. Just let me get everything out.
Mm-hmm.
And then later on, we can revisit this. But that's why I tell people to journal and meditate. Get everything out. And get it all out. And sometimes if you have to go someplace quiet and scream, or you have to go to the gym and start boxing and stuff, kicking stuff, get out your emotions, because if you hold it in, that's what causes stress, that's what causes high blood pressure, that's what causes heart attacks, that's what causes strokes. You don't want any of that. You want to get it out, but sometimes you do have to
Right.
wallow in it. But don't stay there. Don't stay there because nobody wants to be around the Debbie Downer.
Right.
But just your accomplishments. Who is relying on you? Who supports you? And then you get yourself right out. And sometimes you just have to go, maybe go outside, and look at a tree, or look for butterflies, or look at the sky, the clouds, and see a cloud in the shape of a bear, puppy, or something like that. You know.
Right. I love that. Those are great tips. Yeah, you go there, but don't stay there. I
Right.
like that. And find a sounding board, someone that you trust that's not going to manipulate your emotions and weaponize your
Mm-hmm.
words.
Mm,
And figure out if you need to vent or if you need advice. I love that. I use that one with my daughter a lot when she was a teenager. It came in very handy because I'm a problem solver. I'm like, okay, well, how can we fix this? What's the
right.
solution to this problem? And she's like, Mom, I just need you to listen. So I had to, like, at the beginning when she would come in, I'm like, okay, which flip do I need to be? Like, do I need to listen or do I need to give
Right.
you advice? Which, or are you
Right.
looking for
Right.
advice? Which one? And she would tell me. And so I'm
Right.
like, okay, I'll put that hat on and fill that role. And it was fine. It worked
Right.
great. It, like, solved a
Right.
lot of our arguments and stuff too. So it's not just to use, like,
That's good.
when you're in grief, but just like when you're having confrontations with people all the time too. It works
Right.
fantastic for that.
Right.
So,
Right.
well, I have absolutely had an amazing chat with you. Do you have anything else you'd like to share that I didn't cover or didn't talk about or didn't drag out of you?
And I think you got just about everything out of there. Reframe your negatives into positives. Appreciate what you do have. Don't dwell on what you don't have. Don't act like you're better than
Mm-hmm.
somebody else just because you have more. And I told somebody the other day, I may be poor in money, but I'm rich in spirit, and I'm one of those ride or die friends that I will stick with you, through thick and thin. I've got, people on Facebook that I've known since high school, and I don't even know what year I graduated, either
Okay.
1982 or 1983. So they've been friends, for 45 years,
Right.
and they actually know me very well and my family and everything. So sometimes it's like nice to go back on memory lane or reminisce. Remember we used to go roller skating
Mm-hmm.
every Friday night. Remember we used to go watch wrestling every Monday night and stuff. So it's great to have new friends, but it's also nice to have older friends. My mom has a set of friends that we call them the Golden Girls. Some of them they've known each other literally since high school, and they've gone on
Oh,
trips
wow.
together and stuff. And they've families are grown up, and there's people that I call them my aunt and uncle, the kids, my cousins, even though we're not truly related. But
Right.
they've known me since before I was born, and I've literally watched their kids, and now I'm watching their grandkids and stuff. And I'm like, I used to babysit you, and now you got your own kids. This is not real. This is not life. You can't do this. So
Right.
just keep friendships with people, keep an open, honest relationship with people. Communication is
Right.
important. Don't let stuff get out of hand before it, if you think something's going on with somebody, contact them. Don't ever bully anybody. Don't ever act like, you're better than somebody else, because you could be the one person that could help somebody come out of the hole, or you could be the one person that tips somebody over the side. And I don't want to
Right.
be that one person
Absolutely.
that tips somebody over the side. I want to be the one that pulls you out of your hole. And I'm not asking for a hand out. I'm asking for a hand up. Just reach your
Yes.
hand down and help somebody, and somebody reach a hand out and help you. So I help one person, they help one person. It's a lot. And I know this podcast is going to go out to thousands of people. And I want as many people as possible to contact me and tell me their takeaways, tell you their biggest takeaways
Yes.
from hearing this, and what they're going to do to live the life of their dreams. If you need some help living the life of your dreams and getting rid of the shackles, that's my jam. I'm a coach. I do that for people. Contact me about anything you need help with, any questions, and I'll see what I can do to help you. I'm willing to help as many people as I can if possible. Live the life of their dreams and leave a legacy. Stop procrastinating and get through as much grief as they can get through.
Oh, I love that. That is absolutely amazing. Well, thank you so much, Bonnie. And I will post all of her links below. So you'll be able to contact her, reach out to her, follow her, friend her, send her spaghettis and sausage anytime you want to. So all that stuff will be below, and go ahead and post your takeaways from this segment below as well. Thank you. And I'll see you in the next episode of Release.
Thanks, everybody.
Thank you so much for listening to this special episode of Release. All the links plus a few extras are posted in the show notes below. And if you think someone you know could benefit by listening to this episode, please share it with them. And as always, keep going, keep being, keep doing. You are amazing.